All right, everybody, welcome to the Thursday live stream. It is just one of those days, unfortunately, that there's a reckoning upon us. And that, of course, is September. And if we take a look at what is going on for this month of September, we're in the red, finally. And I thought it was quite interesting because, and we'll take a look at what's going on in the markets and global accounts and macro and everything else. But as far as like September, this is the total crypto market cap. And as far as an average over the month thus far, we are negative 0.63%. So congratulations, everybody. We somehow blew a massive lead of like 9% up for the total crypto market cap. Now, if we switch this over, just take a look at, just Bitcoin. I believe we are barely in the green, 0.83%. So Bitcoin is holding steady. But again, September, like we talked about before, historically speaking, I thought this one might be pretty good, but historically speaking, it is usually red over the last 15 years or so. But just the last couple of years, we've had some pretty good times. And then there's a couple of years, 2016 and 15, and then also 2012, which, kind of limited data back then. But so far, September is holding true to the Rektember. But don't worry, Q4 is right around the corner. And I think that we're going to have a great Q4. We could absolutely get destroyed. Things could definitely change. There could be World War III. There could be just a big reckoning over at the Federal Reserve. There could be a total collapse of markets. Who knows? But historically speaking, and especially what's going on as far as tailwinds, I think we're looking pretty good. Now, let's break into it. I'm going to make this video pretty short because I'll be honest with you, I really don't care about today. It's just 24 hours, and if it continues tomorrow, so be it. But I'm in it for the long run, and today is just one of those crappy days that we see a red. So we can either take a look at it and say, okay, this is awful, and my life is over, or we can look at it rationally and just say, yeah, just another day, it doesn't really matter. We've all been here before. Anyhow, Bitcoin down almost 4%, and then alts, of course, take a huge punishing push. And this is why when I talk about selling and taking profits, I'm talking about massively altcoins, because I still think we're going to have a pretty rocky 2026. We could go up for a couple months, but I see it playing out in the 4-year cycles. And if that happens and Bitcoin tumbles 20, 30%, where do you think alts are going to go? They're going to just go to all-time highs? I doubt it, but I could be wrong. But everything across the board as far as alts are just getting pummeled. Solana is down almost 8% in 24 hours. What's the big one? 7% for Chainlink, 14% almost for Avalanche. And everybody was so happy because you had the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, on talking about how Avalanche is going to be the next big thing. And it could be. I have a nice big fat bag of Avalanche. But what goes up must come down. And when it goes down, or actually I said rockets up, usually we have a reverse as things go to earth. Hyperliquid's down, everything's down. And what's interesting also is that the entire crypto market cap, we can see over here, is down 4%. We're just over 4 trillion. Now, of course, we lost a couple of 100 billion. These things happen. But if we can take a look at the long haul, I mean, this is our market cap. I know we zoom in too much, but look at this. I'm going to go as tight in as I can. And essentially, this is what the last 4 or 5 months or so. If I zoom in even more, I mean, that's what it is, even more. Okay, you got me on this one. For the last 7 days, we've had a little bit of a downward trajectory, but not so bad. So that's what's happening in the crypto market. So what the heck happened to the regular markets? Well, they're also suffering. Our brethren in traditional finance is down a whopping 0.5%. That might be awful for them. Hope they're going to be okay. And then, of course, because of what's going on with macro, I think it kind of flows over into crypto. And of course, people who were longing and shorting, they just got liquidated like crazy. Now, we just saw a pretty big, massive event recently, and we just did a video on it. I think it was like the 3rd highest liquidations at $1.8 trillion. Well, guess what? Today we're getting close because the 24-hour wrecked amount is 1.15 billion. And in the last 4 hours, it was 500. It was half a million. Excuse me, 500 million all over the place today. So 24-hour wrecked, 1.15 billion, 1 hour, 14 million. And I saw a little piece that not too long ago, I think the 2-hour wreck was like 388 million. So again, this is not a great day if you were shorting or longing. Hopefully you're going on the right side, but you play that game, that's what it is. So the question is this going to be it? Is this awful? I don't really think so. I think there's probably something in the background, but just remember, it's not like we've cut off the money supply. The global liquidity of M2 is still going up. The M2 money supply for the United States is also still going up. And we can just see here, we were just at 102 trillion not too long ago. And now we're at 103 trillion, just sloshing around, waiting for a home. And of course, this is money printing. Even Elon Musk gets it. He put this out just a couple hours ago, in the morning. And he's like, look, we're going to print money. That's just pretty much how it is. But what happened in the macro events? Was there some kind of bad omen? Was there something that would shake the markets? Maybe somewhere, but I don't see it here. This is the macro indicators of Market Watch. And we can just see over here that the initial jobless claims, this is for Thursday, September 25th, which is today, it went down, meaning that people aren't getting laid off too much or they're not actually doing the claims. And of course, these are initial jobless claims. So it was 232,000 last week. I think this is a weekly indicator or a weekly data point. And we were expecting an increase of 235 and it went down to 218,000. And this one's also shocked me. The GDP was at 3%. This is the third estimation. And I find it very odd that the data that we get for the macroeconomics is so off lately. Do you remember that the jobs report that came in where they retroactively looked at, and it was a revision of March 2024 to March 2025, and somehow, some way, they were like, whoopsie, we had the largest data point error as far as job losses of 911,000. That was the most of all time, the most. And now all of a sudden we're getting this, different things as far as like estimations or second, third estimations, which are also off. Now, I understand that there are many a time when the revisions are a little bit different. Makes sense, right? We can't be perfect, especially with this data that is being pulled through. But I got to tell you, for GDP, it was at 3%. Then they revised it and like, oh, you know what? GDP is actually 3.3% for quarter two. Then they revised it again and go, hey, guess what? It's really strong. 3.8% for GDP. Not bad. Trade balance in goods, negative 85 billion. Last time it was 102. And of course, this is because all the different providers or suppliers were getting ahead of the game and putting in a lot or pulling in a bunch of goods before the tariffs went in August. And let's see what else we got. Durable goods orders, durable goods, so on and so forth. So, things are looking pretty great. However, tomorrow is a big day. September 26th, we're going to get what the Fed usually takes a look at as far as inflation. And that is the PCE. Expenditure year over year. And the core PCE, the personal consumption index, we're looking at the core PCE, stripping out energy and transportation. 2.9% of what core PCE is. They're expecting it to be 2.9%. And if it comes in at higher, then maybe we will see a bigger pullback everywhere. Again, if the PCE comes in and the inflation is going up, that means that we got two big problems. We've got inflation going up, which the Fed is supposed to be doing their job. And they haven't done it. I'm just going to be nice. They haven't collapsed the economy. That's great. So if inflation's going up and jobs are going down and taken away, what do? Well, if you cut rates, that's great for jobs because it'll stimulate the economy. Unfortunately, when you cut rates, that increases in inflation. And if that's the problem, then we're going to be in a sticky situation. So we'll see what's happening. And then, of course, there's also Fed rates cut potentially in October. And so far on Poly Market, it looks like it's about an 80% chance of a 25 basis point decrease. So I'll probably go with that. And that's where we're at. There's probably some tailwinds or headwinds that I'm not aware of right now, but am I looking at this market? And I got to tell you, I was buying today. I think this was a good opportunity, but we'll see how it goes. And then lastly, before we get into a little Q&A, just so you guys know, Tangem, which I have Tangem, I have Ledger, I use custodial services over at iTRUST, and they just put this out. Actually, I think this is like last week. Solana, BNB, Tron, Polygon, Atom, all right, and Ton are now available for staking. And apparently Cardano's coming in Q4, so we'll see what's happening. But this is staking going on right now on your Tangem card. Also, what's pretty cool is that they just rolled out this thing's called swaps, not swaps, transportation swaps or something like that, where when let's say you've got Tether in your wallet, in your Tangem cold storage wallet, and you're going to send somebody funds. They're like, hey, I'd like to have some Bitcoin. Now what you can do is you can say, okay, instead of going to like sending your Tether to an exchange, transferring the Tether into Bitcoin, then sending Bitcoin to your friend, now you can say, okay, I've got $500 worth of Tether. I'm going to send you some Bitcoin. That's what you want. And it does it automatically within the Tangem wallet. That's pretty cool. So I got two things going. If you'd like to sign up and get a little Tangem, right now, 3 cards. Well, I'm going to show you a trick. The 3 cards are 69 bucks. 2 cards are 54. There's 2 tricks. First of all, you see where it says sale right here? If you click on that sale, it's the same thing. They take 10 bucks off automatically. So like that looks like a fine card. I don't care. And then also if you enter this code, D.A.N, you also get another 10% off. So instead of 69 bucks, the 3 card set is now $53. I'm just saying, you're welcome. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now we'll get a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions. I'm going to ask you some questions, and we'll go back and forth. And that's it. So thanks for stopping by. If you got to take off. Let's get into Q&A. Let's see. Disingenuous, is that a word? I see a bunch of, sorry, a little problem with the microphone today. A lot of things going on. I see a lot of grammar professionals in the chats today. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Verhoofty says, what was he buying? That's the question. It's very simple. I was buying a little bit of Bitcoin. I was buying a little bit of Solana. And I was buying a good amount of Avantis. And I was buying a good amount of Aster. So that's what everybody knows. It's a funny thing because like we talked about Aster and we talked about Avantis. We talked about Avantis like over 10 days ago now. 9-10 days ago. And Aster we talked about on the 20th. And they were great. And they doubled. And as soon as they doubled, I sell. I sell half and let the rest ride. That's why I'm usually pretty stress-free. It's a great life. It's a great life when things work out for you. But today the dip was pretty strong in me, so I said, I'm just going to load up on some stuff. That's it. I didn't load up, but that's what I bought. And let's see. What else do we have? Sean says, Coinbase just suggested I stake my USDs for lending and earn 10% yield. Jumped on it. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, as long as Coinbase doesn't turn into Voyager or Celsius or FTX, sounds good to me. 10% is pretty nice. I'm not going to do it because I have PTSD from the last cycle, but I mean, 10% for holding your USDC. Here's another thing. I have a question for everybody. Instead of you guys asking me questions, I'd like to know, I'd like to see if I can do this. Bear with me for a second. I seen Tommy Crown do this, where he's done a poll. Aha. Start a poll. My question is this. Is everyone here going to Diamond Hands? Or are you just waiting to sell? Because you're tired. Diamond hands. I just want to know where everybody's at here. Because it seems like the more people that I talk to lately, the more they're just so tired. They're tired of the ups and downs. They're tired of being told to buy the dip. They're tired of being told how Bitcoin's going to be the future, which I personally think it is. And it'll definitely, I think it'll go to 1 million, especially all this money printing. But the question is when? Because some people say, oh, it's going to happen at the end of this cycle. When's the end of the cycle? Oh, the end of the cycle is in 2032 or whatever. So people are tired of that. They're tired of getting the rugs. They're tired of being stressed out because they don't want to get scammed. And they're tired of getting into things that just don't work out. And they're tired of waiting. So I'm just curious, is that what everybody feels like? Because I was talking to an XRP whale just recently. He's like, look, mate, he's like, I can't wait to get out. And the people that I talk to who are also bigger whales than me, they're waiting to dump their to transfer their XRP to the next investor sooner rather than later. I was like, wow, even those guys? Like, yeah, those guys. Master Blaster. So anyhow, I answered that poll. I'd like to see what the answer is. Zoran says, I bought Avantis on Binance, but there is no Aster. Well, so here's a trick for everybody. Buy Tangem. Just kidding. But not really. It's a good product. Let's see. When you go to CoinGecko, and let's just look for Aster, for example. There's Aster, down 13%. Yeah, but it's still above $2. I mean, we bought it somewhere over here, so not bad. But when you're on CoinGecko.com, there we are. Click on Markets. And on Markets, you see here where it says all centralized exchanges and DEXs. Let's just take a look at where Aster is as far as a centralized exchange. Now, if you're an American citizen, you're like, what the heck are all these? Exactly. You can't use these that I know of. Correct me in the comment section. Bybit, Gate, maybe Gate. I don't think so. ZoomX, MEXC, nope. XT, BingX, nope. LBBank, HTX, Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. So if you are looking for Aster, this is where you go for centralized exchange. For decentralized exchanges, you go to Aster. Or you can do this crazy stuff at PancakeSwap and Uniswap or whatever else. Now, the other one, Avantis, and why do we talk about these? Because these are perpetual trading platforms for futures. So there's like no expiration for it and a couple of different options. And there's like up to like 500x, which I guess is a pretty big thing for some degenerates, but whatever. Anyhow, Avantis, if you're looking to buy that, well, first of all, Aster is backed by CZ Binance, and he's going to keep talking about it. And he's going to talk about it, and he keeps talking about it on X and in every other different place that he can get into. So just to be aware that sometimes just the word of mouth is the big thing. And Avantis is being backed by Coinbase and Pantera Capital. And if we're looking at the markets, we just come on here. Where's the centralized exchange? Binance and Coinbase. And they can also get on a DEX, but on Aerodrome and stuff like that. So if you're looking for where to buy anything, that's where I go to first. And actually, this is where I go to, CoinGecko, especially if I want to find out more information and not get scammed. I'll just look for like their website, which is right there. And then also like their search on Twitter. What are you talking about? Where is the... Oh, right there. Where it says community, it'll have Twitter and YouTube and all the rest of their stuff. So like if you click on that, it goes to their official account, which is nice, right? Stops you from getting scammed out. So good question, Zoran. Good question. What are you talking about? Precipitous is an adjective with a few key meanings. Steep or sheer, referring to something dangerously high or abrupt. Look, I guess everybody in the comment section is going back and forth on, I'm glad I could bring this kind of discussion where we're talking about grammar and what is correct and not correct. I can bear with you, Rob. Very funny. Good one, bot. That was pretty good. No profit hands, no diamond, already sold. Wow, wait and see, good for you. Carlos says, if Voyager still has my money, our money, Carlos, does that mean I'm diamond hands? You are a prisoner of diamond hands. That's what it really comes down to. Not tired, but excited. I hold 3 cryptos. One is diamond hands, one is up in the air, and one is a sell. I like that portfolio. That sounds pretty good. D.A.N's tire ready to dump it all. I can see that. Bots, diamond handing, diamond hands and ETH. You know, what is Rob doing, Marianne? It's a great question. What Rob is doing is he is getting ready for the great altcoin transfer. And I will be transferring my bags of altcoins that I've been accumulating for quite some time throughout the bear market. And we've done the hard work. I've done the hard work, which I have supported these projects when they were at their lowest, which was in the bear market when nobody wanted to deal with them and all the normies were gone. So I will be selling 90 to 100% of my altcoins going into Q4. And we'll take a look at certain indicators. And if you want to know what those are, there's a link in the description where I call it crypto critical videos. One is just when I'm selling 80% of my crypto. So altcoins, gone. And then Bitcoin, 25%. That's pretty reasonable, I think. And again, if we're looking at like what are the indicators, we get 2 options here. There's one called coinglass.com, and just go to the peak signals, and it tells you right here. Well, it's telling you right here, 100% you got to, hold. Of course, you know, all models are wrong, and some are useful, right? So we can take a look at, how far is the pi cycle top indicator close to its blow off top? It's 57%. How about the Puel multiple? 55%, and so on and so forth. So we take a look at that. Also, we can go to Ben's site. And my favorite is these crypto risk indicators. So instead of looking at individual indicators like the Puel multiple and pi cycle top and all that stuff, you get an aggregate of all these things put together, which is pretty cool. And this thing loads. I'm very impatient today. And we can see that right now, the on-chain metrics is pretty much telling us that of all these aggregates of all these indicators, we probably shouldn't do too much. But if we go back to the blow off top in November 2021, look at those. Look at those metrics. Filthy. 2017, same thing. Bear market, you can see where I'm going with this. Bear market, awful. Right now, a little better. But that's what I'm doing and what I'm looking at, and pretty much everything in a nutshell. Aster is great. One of these days, I'm just going to do a video on leverage trading because I know absolutely nothing about it. And I'm going to get some people that actually do it for a living, and I'm going to put it over on D.A.N. And I'll probably do that video during the bear market because that's why I'm going to step down from this channel. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then we can just gamble, that's what bear markets are. Bear markets are for 2 things: gambling and accumulating. And I can feel it coming. Man, bear, cow. Rob, did you talk about Avantis not too long ago? I had some of my bags and it pumped. Yeah. We, I don't remember. Let's see. It was, Avantis. This one. Man, we talked about this 11 days ago. Jeez. Time's flying. I talked about Avantis, and in that video I said, hey, I'm going to buy this, and it's super risky. So if you buy it with me, just know I'll dump on you. And yeah, 11 days ago. What's the date today? 25th. So let me do some quick math. 14th, 13th? September 13th, roughly. Yeah. About 67, 70. I think it was around 70 cents, something like that. So not bad, But as a reminder, my calls aren't nothing to be bragging about. I mean, let's be honest. I've called some wrong ones in the past, 2021. But that was one, Avantis and Aster. When we did an NFA live last week with Guy from Coin Bureau and Nick from Coin Bureau. And after the show, Nick was talking about, he's like, you know, there's this thing Astra coming out. And I was like, oh, let me take a look at that. And then Wes sent something from a Smart Money Crypto, sent me a message on Telegram. He's like, this one's gonna be big, mate. And they were right. So here we are. Yeah. Sean Mahoney. I've been hearing a lot about Tangem. We'll check it out. Yeah. Yeah, if I ever get an email, which I do get them every so often, where people lose all their crypto, it's always from something. It's really, the most of it is it's hot wallets, which would be like MetaMask or something that's always connected to the internet. The second one is exchanges, like some shady, crappy exchange. And the third one is like cold storage wallets with mnemonic phrases. Either these people, they send it to the wrong place, or they lose their mnemonic phrase, or somehow the mnemonic phrase gets hijacked. And that is either because they uploaded to the cloud, they emailed the mnemonic phrase themselves, they did something goofy, which they shouldn't have done, and maybe they didn't know. But that's what I hear. But I never get anything from Tangem. The only thing I get from Tangem complaints is they're like, hey, they didn't give me that discount. And the other one is like, hey, the shipping cost is crazy high. I'm like, I can't help that. So that's what I get. Nicholas got to go on. If you can't see yourself holding an investment for longer than 10 years, you shouldn't consider holding it for 10 minutes. That would be a good thing for all meme coin holders. But again, there's a big difference between Warren Buffett, who is a staunch, great investor and holder, and the difference between that and, say, like a short-term scalper trader, which I am not that guy. Some activity, hold and convert. Oh, I got on Phoenix. Very nice. And let's take a look. Really. I'm looking at the poll, and there's 63% of you out of 143 votes. 63% of you are diamond handsing it, and 37% are selling. Huh. Did not have that on my bingo card. All right. Good to know. With Romania, can Americans use it with a VPN? I assume you can do a lot of things with a VPN. I just don't do that stuff because I've heard of stories where people try to access something without the VPN one time and they get caught, and then their whole account gets wiped. If you're talking about like centralized exchanges and stuff like that. If I can't get it on an exchange, I'll just be like, well, it is what it is. If I really want it, I'll do a DEX if I know there's risk involved. And then beyond that, I'm like, I don't need it that bad. Let's see. Bought sold today, may regret it. Nah. Pirate Justin says, first time I rode Bitcoin from 68K to a little over 15K in 2022. Sounds like everybody. But you know what's great about Justin here? How many of you would like to buy Bitcoin today at 68K? See? It's amazing what time will do. Danny's right. The roller coaster ride is mentally draining. It is, especially if we focus too much on it. We got to get outside. We got to do things. We can't just be stuck to social media and X, which sometimes I'm guilty of. And also looking at our portfolios. Money's going to be there anyhow. So, yeah, how money is made. Thomas says, don't forget CZ is an ex-con. Well, he did get put in jail, but I think that was for, the U.S. government wanted him in jail. And I think this was anti-money laundering issues. So, and I think he took one for the team. And you know what? I think when he was in jail, he's like, you know, it'd be great to not have to deal with these people and their rules. What if we could just make like a decentralized Binance where you could do all kinds of trading and have massive leverage, and we could talk about it. I think that's what Astor is. I think that's why he did it. So I'm just saying, makes sense. How about Amanda's on base? I'm in Oklahoma. Nice. I prefer Gemini and Kraken. Free and fighting, I also prefer Kraken. One of the strongest spinners. Sean says, I'm 49, just got into crypto, looking to get into proven L1s and hold for years. Easiest one to do is just start with everything, which is the best. Start with Bitcoin. Then if you want to go from there, plenty of channels and people that'll tell you what to get into. But find the projects that you actually believe in and hold for a while. Rob does not preach hoping like most of the YouTubes. Yeah, it's is that the Scottsdale, the Pendle paradox? Damn it. So during the Vietnam War, there was a fighter pilot shot down. And as he was in the hotel, the Hanoi Hotel, as it was called, where he was being a prisoner of war, he noticed that there was two types of soldiers that were there. One group of soldiers that would say, hey, we're getting out of here on Christmas because it's a religious holiday and they're going to release us. And that day came and went. And he saw that their hope just diminished greatly. And then they would say, there was another hope that would come out and say, oh, well, you know what? Just after the New Year's, then they're going to release us. And then, of course, those days came and went. He saw even more hope go out. And then as time went on, he just saw that those people just wouldn't make it. But he said, when you were a realist and say to yourself, okay, we will get out of here at some point, we just don't know when. Those soldiers that believed like that were the ones that actually made it out of captivity. And I think it's the same. I mean, it's a very extreme example, but it's the same thing that we see in investing. If I give you the dumbest hopium out there and you believe it, and then it comes and goes, what does that do to your psyche? Well, it beats you down even more, and you can't. Over time, no one can handle that. And again, it's not being like a prisoner of war, but I'm just saying. So I give you as much reasonable hope that I can, but also try to balance it with like, hey, this could go to, could drop massively and you can get wiped out, be careful, blah, blah, blah. So that's what it comes down to. Let's see, accept, yes. Selling all my alts, become a Bitcoin maxi. Yeah, but what's Bobby doing? Bobby's still licking his wounds, my friend Bobby, from gambling on Polymarket, on betting that it's going to be 50 basis points. He lost 250 bucks, but he's like, don't worry about that. I'll be fine. Bob has insiders all over. Wish you would share. See, Christian's right. I do have a bunch of insiders, and they do tell me a bunch of things, and I can't share them with you. And I know people are like, why don't you do that? It's because when they share these things with me, sometimes they're wrong. And I'm okay with taking the risk, but I'm not going to put that risk on people. The only time I talk about something that is like risky, but big, is when I see there is sufficient backing and there's actually a purpose behind it, and I can just see it being massive. And it was a crazy thing because Avantis came and Aster came at the same time. And I looked at who was behind those projects, how well they're doing already, what they're offering, what the utility is, what the actual revenue is that they're actually producing, which, hint, businesses need to produce revenue, not just speculation. And they both had that. Heck, right now, Aster, I think, is number 3 above Hyperliquid, and they've only been around for like a week. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I will share that. But other stuff, I am not sharing with you guys because I'll take the risk, but I don't want anybody to do that. I just don't. And I will tell you this, behind the scenes, I've lost a good amount of funds. So just remember that everybody's got an ulterior motive. Crypto Steve, Rob, be honest with us. The top is in and Bitcoin is going to zero. I remember this in 2021. Remember roughly around April, 1st of April, we could do no wrong, right? Bitcoin was going crazy. Altcoin season was here. You could just throw money in and just magically 2 or 3 or 10x. And then May came. And you're like, what the heck just happened? And then June, and I think we lost roughly 50% of the valuation of Bitcoin. I'm not sure about the market cap, but Bitcoin was over 63,000, went down to 29,000. Like, that's it? Well, that was a fun run. And of course, people just wouldn't believe it. And we got back. And then, of course, we had another massive run in November. And then once we went to 67, people were like, well, 100K is right around the corner. Forgetting the fact that 4-year cycles are here, forgetting the fact that looks like that money printing was going to stop very quickly in the next 4 or 5 months. And it just started to decrease over that time. So Steve-O might be right. But it might be it. I could be wrong. And maybe Q4 is the worst Q4 of all time. It's not outside the realm of possibility. Anything's possible. So the question is you have to ask yourself is, do I want to take some profits right now? Am I in profits? That's up for you to say, not for me. But I'm just telling you, all the indicators I see right now say don't do anything. I still think October, November is going to be good. The question I have, though, is in October, are people going to try to front run the November people? And if we get to November and things are looking good, and people are like, December, are the November people going to front run the December people? This is the game theory you have to think about. Chris is right. Thursday is for spaghetti. I am hungry. Let's see. I don't know. What's the name of the trading hamster that made a bunch of money? I don't know. There was a game on Ton or on the open network, but I don't remember. The Hamster Combat was the game, matter of fact. And that made a ton of money. It's Taco Thursday. And I'll leave it here. This is a great one to end with. It's not over till it's over, until the fat lady sings, whichever comes first. And that's very true. So, again, if we look at the tailwinds versus the headwinds, we're still, I mean, the economies, we just saw GDP go from 3% to 3.3 to revision of 3.8%. Now, initial claims are down. We're going to take a look at inflation tomorrow. And if, of course, inflation is high, that's why things dropped today. But we'll find out tomorrow. Anyhow, that's it for tonight. Like today's video, on your way out, just thumbs up and just leave a comment. For some reason, YouTube seems to really like that stuff. And that's it for today. So thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out with me for 37 minutes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.